Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another episode, Real Estate Marketing Dude Podcast. Today, we're going to talk Facebook ads. We brought on the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Travis Thom out of New Mexico. And this guy knows a lot about Facebook ads. This is a hot topic. And we're going to talk about the do's, the ints, the who, what, when, where, why, everything about Facebook ads. So without further ado, we have a lot to talk about. This is 100% content. You guys are going to be blown away. But without further ado, I want to introduce our guest. Mr. Travis Thom joins us today to share his insight. Travis, how are you?
Mike, I'm excellent. Thank you for having me on here. I really appreciate it. I'm excited.
No problem. I'm looking forward to this show. We're going to pretty much, I think, nerd out on this, talking some advanced stuff. But we're going to keep it so that you guys can follow along. Travis, real quick, brief background. You are a Facebook ads expert, and what I like about you is that you do Facebook ads specifically for real estate, which is different, right? You can't go out there and, I don't think the same Facebook ad agency who concentrates on, the health industry can apply the same success into the real estate industry. I think the real estate industry is very unique. To really do this, you have to understand the market, the consumer, and tie in those messages. So you were an agent as well. So give us a quick background on you and how you got into the Facebook ad game, and let's get right into it because we have a lot of questions.
So when I was, I grew up in a real estate family. My family does real estate contracts, private mortgages, an escrow company that handles payments, and I grew up around real estate in general because our next door neighbor was a home builder. Our other neighbor was a commercial developer, and then our other neighbor across the cul-de-sac did there was a custom home builder and then another mortgage broker. So we were just kind of surrounded by it growing up in the industry. I started when I was in real estate. I was 19 years old, and my first couple years, I was the youngest agent apparently licensed in the state.
What year is this, give or take?
This was 2000.
Okay.
Yeah, 2000.
Facebook's
2000.
just coming about at that time, give or take, or was it even out in 2000? It just started hitting. I was in junior in college, maybe.
Well, was Facebook even out? I don't think it was 2000. I mean, Facebook ads really started to roll out in 2006. So the platform, I think, was just hitting colleges, right? Kind of moving across college to college kind of thing. So for me, I was still using old school tactics, right? Just door knocking. And I remember, about 2 years into it, I was door knocking on it was a community. It was 4th of July. I bought about 500 or 600 of those little American flags, and dressed up in my sharpest suit because I was young and I needed people to believe that they could trust.
I remember those days. Yep.
And putting American flag in each little thing with a postcard, and it was like 100 degrees out. Really wasn't thinking smart. By the end of the night, like 8, 9 o'clock at night, it was dark. I was tired. I was walking around just with my dress shoes kind of in my arms with maybe I think a handful of flags left. And I heard someone open up their gate from just down the street, and apparently they thought I was breaking into their house and let their Rottweiler out and just chased me down the street. 2 calls came in that next day to the office, which were, one, please don't ever come back to our neighborhood and litter our neighborhood with, little American flags and postcards.
Yeah.
And then the second one was, just checking on your real estate agent. Want to make sure that my dog didn't get him. I just got his postcard. So it was that type of thing for about a couple of years. And then I started, really kind of getting burnt out on those strategies, and there had to be a better way. So it was about, 3-4 years into it, then I started doing internet marketing, and I started to try and crack into, some of the kind of larger, typical kind of things that you would do with paid advertising online. And I got picked up by a few different developers, a condo developer actually out of Chicago. And they said, hey, would you like to try and sell some of our, they had a condo development of 20 condos. And I said, yeah, let's try it. So I ran some ads. Well, we ended up selling out that development within, I think it was like 3-4 months. It moved pretty fast. And then after that, I got picked up by another developer, and same kind of thing. We really honed in on the marketing, picked that up. So eventually, I just started becoming known as condo townhouse development marketing. And we grew a team, and then we started working on single-family homes and started building out single property websites and learning WordPress and doing ad campaigns. And then, by then, Facebook was out, and we were really leveraging Facebook advertising and trying to test its limits of what we could do. Those are back in the days when you were getting, like 15% clicks, right? 20 cent.
Yeah. The good old days.
Good old days.
I want to ask you something here, not to interrupt you, but this is a point. So for our listeners, how many of you right now actually experience this? All right. There's a reason why 87% of newly licensed agents don't make it in the industry after 5 years. And it's simply because they can't get the business. And it's because they're taught by the gurus of doing all the stupid shit like go after cold calling or go hit for sale by owners. They really like real estate agents. That's why they're selling for sale by owners. Or go do all the hardcore prospecting tactics. And honestly, I think it burns a lot of agents out of the industry where they don't get a chance. When 60% of the business is coming from referrals or repeat clients, why? The problem I'm seeing is that people are putting their ad spend, their energy, their marketing, they're in front of the wrong audience, right?
Right.
They're trying to chase strangers they don't know, but that's the beauty of Facebook ads is you could target it in. So ideally that you're attracting them no different than how you attracted these developers, I'm sure, online, right? You get a couple developers that come on in, you're like, holy shit, this online thing is going off. And I bet no one at that time was even thinking of online marketing in real estate, 2005 or 4 or 6, whatever year that was for you.
Well, yeah, it was just Facebook was just starting to roll out. By then we had a pretty good understanding of like the basics of online marketing, and we weren't necessarily crushing it. We were doing okay. We grew our team to about 30 people, and we started getting into single family homes as well as our developments. But there was this one kind of pivotal moment that really changed, I guess, my career with Facebook marketing and real estate is that I met a girl. That's how it started, right?
That's how I know this is going to be really good or really bad.
It's a love story. Yeah.
All right.
So I met a girl and fell in love, and she, we started dating, and so a couple of years into it, I started then looking for a ring, right? Because I was gonna buy a ring and propose and do that. So started down that process of looking for rings online, and I maybe over the course of like 15, 25 days, I had looked at, I don't know, maybe 12, 14 different websites for engagement rings. And there's this one company that started to just show up again and again in my newsfeed.
Yeah.
Follow me around, right? Yeah. So the Facebook Pixel was, just kind of rolling out, and these guys were following me. And the first set of ads were, just kind of showing different, different styles of the ring. And then it was like a week or so later, it was more about like the brand story. And then I think that the one that finally got me, and it was like 2 months in of seeing these ads. So I'm probably like on ad, I don't know, 8 or 9 by now, was the one about like the artist crafting the actual ad. I mean, crafting the actual ring, and how they're process and artisans. And so it's basically gave a backstory on the artist that created it. No other diamond ring website was retargeting me, right? It was just this one company. And so I bought from them, and it was a big purchase. It was a big emotional purchase, right? It's a big item in it. And so it got me thinking. I was like, it was this kind of this aha moment of what else, if they can do that with an engagement ring, which is typically like a big kind of life stage, life moment, big decision, then you can do the same thing with real estate. And how can I do that for our clients? And how can I do that for the homes that we're selling, for the condos that we're selling? So I started, getting into it, started learning, trying to move around, trying to find information on it, and just
didn't sleep for like 2 weeks. Just mind racing, like, holy shit, look what's about to happen. This is freaking gold rush of the 2000s. Holy fuck.
It was a lot of, there wasn't a lot of information out at that time too, right? It was still very behind the scenes of how you do this. So I started just really going into the deep depths of the internet and figuring this out. Google retargeting was already out. They were doing their thing, so Facebook was just kind of adapting some of that. So I learned from there. But what we ended up doing was then starting to build out these ads going, okay, if someone goes here and then they leave, if they go to our website and then they leave, what do we need to be showing them, right? So we tested it out on one property, and that property really helped us build kind of our case study for the rest of the homes that we were going to market and sell. And what it was is that we had a pixel on a single property website that we were promoting. When they left that website, then they would start seeing ads about our company and how we help, people find homes. It was really basic. It was really short. We really didn't have anything actually perfected, but it got action out of it. It actually got results. And then we just did this rinse and repeat with then developments and condos, and then rolled it out for the rest of our brokerage. And over time, then that became really kind of part of our secret sauce as we started to really build that out. We grew a company into 3 different companies, and then eventually sold it, and then took the technology we had built from our main brokerage and turned that into a software as a service company that does the single property websites, and kind of spun that off because that girl said yes, by the way.
Oh yeah, that's good. That's good. So let me ask you this question: the strategy that you originally started with and this launched your career, your business model now,
right?
Is that strategy still work today?
More than ever.
The same specific one?
Well,
Facebook ads works, but what worked back, let me rephrase it. What worked back then in Facebook is that same exact process, the exact same process you did in 2007, 2008, whenever you started, work today in Facebook, or has it changed a little bit? Are there new things you need to learn?
It's changed drastically.
Yep.
Yeah, changed drastically. And so what we see today, so just to kind of give you an idea of what our funnels look like and what we consult people on and actually implement, is a Facebook ad funnel that is, so there's for those that don't understand funnels or don't really know what marketing funnels are, essentially you have a top of funnel that we call affectionately tofu. So top of funnel, and then middle of funnel, and then bottom of funnel. So the top of funnel is typically an ad that you're running out to build awareness and get people to click on it and then trigger some sort of action. So for us, there's several different types of that, but it's more of an elongated funnel, almost like a sideways tornado, if you can kind of think of it, because there's all these different other things that have to happen inside of it. But just imagine that, and this is just one of the strategies for sellers, for instance, is I know a lot of people were using home valuation landing pages and thinking that was like the silver bullet, right? And it did get listings, and we have clients that still get listings from it, but a lot of people then say, well, they don't work. I ran traffic to it, got a few leads, called a few of them, but then that's it, right? Then just crickets. Well, how we envision it and how we've designed some of these is, let's say you're driving an ad, a home valuation ad, to a home valuation landing page. That ad is your top of funnel. And then in the home valuation landing page, you have a Facebook pixel. So you have a targeting pixel in place. After they leave that, then whether they opted in or not, right? Whether they gave their information in or not, or if they looked at it and the phone rang, or they didn't like the picture in the background, or they said, the button color annoys me, whatever it might be, they left. So let's say you send 1,000 people to that over the course of 5-6 months. Well, then now with the Facebook Pixel, you have 1,000 people in that custom audience, right, for that top of funnel. Well, the moment that they leave that website, you can engineer then a series of different Facebook ads that are triggered and dripped out almost like an email sequence. And this is what we call a delayed sequence funnel or a push funnel. So they leave, and then maybe it might be instantly, it might be a few hours later, however you want to do it. There's then that first ad that pops up that might be your brand introductory story, right? This is so-and-so, and this is how I sell my properties. Been the number one agent for the past 20 years in X area, right? Whatever it might be. Then that goes on for 5 or 6 days, let's say. Then the ad burns off. Another ad shows up that is testimonials. It might be a carousel ad of 5 or 6 different testimonials from past clients. And then so on and so on. And you do this, for a period of, there might be 10, 15 different ads in that funnel. And what you're trying to do in that type of funnel, whether it's a buyer funnel or a seller funnel, is you're taking people through an indoctrination process, right? Yep. You're reframing them that you are the expert and authority figure in that specific niche, in that market. And you're doing that by the frequency illusion, right? The illusion that you are everywhere. And it's funny, when we would do these types of funnels for our brokerage, when we were in the real estate business, people would walk up to me and they said, Travis,
everywhere.
I see you everywhere.
Yeah.
And the funniest thing is we had several people say, I've been seeing your billboards everywhere.
You have billboards, dude.
Doing great. Yeah, and it's not, I never had any billboards. Yeah. And it would just be in their mind, right, that you would be everywhere and kind of surrounding them with that. But really, there may be 50 people in that audience, right? But those 50 people think that you're just crushing it and you're everywhere.
Let me break this down because you talked about some very advanced stuff. So for some of our listeners that are thinking about Facebook ads and what this whole retargeting concept, let me do a football analogy for you. Retargeting is like the play action in NFL, right? You set up your first ad and you do a handoff so that you could set up that pass eventually. However, you need someone to bite on that first play before the second play is set up. All right. The first ad is designed to get someone to a website so that Facebook can collect those people and that you could create secondary ads, which Travis was referring to as retargeting ads, to that secondary audience. Because what you're doing is building a huge funnel of people that are raising their hands. And what this does, in actuality, is it decreases your ad spend because you're putting your advertisement messages, more of your sort of call to action in front of the people that clicked on the first one. So the question is this, is like, would people click on the first one if they didn't have any interest whatsoever? If you're not in the market whatsoever to buy or sell a house, like you're most likely not clicking on the house ad, right? But the one who is most likely has something going on somewhere in their dome that they're maybe in the market sometime later. And that's how, he's identifying people to raise all of their hands. And then what I love about this is that you're taking it, most people right now are doing the 1-2 strategy, okay? Here's ad 1 and then the retargeting ad second. What you're talking about doing is creating a much longer term funnel of that. And you're literally attracting the business, right? So ad 1, okay, let's send them, the people who clicked on ad 1, let's send them ad 2. Let's see if this works. They're only shown ad 2 for X amount of time, then let's show them ad 3, see if this works. And I'm guessing that some of your strategy is it speaking to different personality types, using disc type messaging and or tone, or what's your strategy behind the back end when you get to ad number 3, 4, 5? And you guys, this is exactly why Travis has a company who does this, because this is ninja shit. It's not like, this isn't something that you can just learn in one time. You learn this type of stuff through experience and results. But go ahead. How many ads do you set up in that funnel? Because the funnel's always working, right?
Right.
So how many ads are set up for one landing page?
Well, so it depends, right? So from and it depends on the market too, right?
Sure.
There's a client we have in Denver right now that we're setting up his company's funnel, and it's things are moving so quick that buyers are missing out. So the ad copy has to have a sense of urgency.
Absolutely.
Really,
That's a good point. Yeah.
that that there's a short fuse here. You guys got to make a move. So there's a lot of scarcity play kind of inside that ad copy. So when we look at markets, we do a discovery period where we try and figure out exactly how is the market responding. What's the inventory like? What's the job creation like there? Or is there migration coming in, moving out? What are the age ranges? So we do kind of a really basic psychographic kind of analysis to understand who are some of these prospects, but to define your ad targeting, right, and then define the actual brand message associated with it, because you can't use the same brand messaging.
It's not universal, right?
It's like universal. No, it changes, right? You can't do the same thing for Chicago than you would for like Austin, Texas.
So let's talk about this real quick. This is a good point. Now, I'm curious on your opinion on this, because most agents that are doing Facebook ads are like, oh, okay, great. Like, I get this question a lot. I see people come in. I was at this event, and this guy told me to build up all my page likes. And as long as I get like 1 million page likes, I'm going to be very successful. I'm just like, all right, yeah, sure, whatever, dude. All right. So that was like 10 years ago. But
Right.
the second thing is that most agents today, when they think of Facebook ads, they simply think of pressing the easy button, which is the page boost. Okay. So can you explain to us, to our listeners, the difference? Because what I'm talking about, guys, is targeting. Okay. It's like this. Would you ever, if I opened up a taco stand in Chicago, all right, because I'm Mexican, that's what we do. We open up taco stands. If I open up taco stand in Chicago, me not focusing on the targeting would be like me not having a sign in front of my restaurant saying I'm a taco stand. It just says food. Well, what kind of food are you, Mike, right? It would just be a waste of money. So you have to target who you want your content to come in front of. Otherwise, you're wasting your money. Let me do one more analogy. A lot of agents, let's switch to direct mail marketing. A lot of agents are like, oh, let's do direct mail marketing. It's great. Let's use every door direct mail because you get more for less. That's the general perception. I could reach more people for less. Well, every door direct mail, in my opinion, is not that effective because the list with whom you're sending your direct mail pieces to is not targeted. Therefore, you're wasting a lot of coverage. And if you do the numbers and add them up, you're not saving shit. You're actually spending more. Because I would rather target a list of people who are more likely to move, that are homeowners, and literally target in my direct mail. So when we talk about targeting, please explain to our listeners, and you can tell I get annoyed when I hear this, please explain to our listeners on why you can't just press a page boost if you're going to do it. Like, doing a page boost is the easy button to say, hey, Mr. Seller, I did something for you. But doing page boosts consistently as, hey, I'm run Facebook ads, no, you don't. That's the easy button. It doesn't work that way. You have to understand this stuff, because not only if you think your page boost is helping you sell the house, it's not. It's a pay. I want to explain the importance of the objectives is what I'm getting at when you start off, and how important that is.
So in a page boost, so Facebook's UI, right, their actual user design is so insanely clean and easy and effective to where people just go, oh, I'll just click that button, right, and that's it, right? Then I'm running Facebook ads, like you said.
Right.
Where we never really touch a page boost. That's not part of our strategy. Really, we go into the back end of it and get our hands dirty and definitely do some research with it. So with a page boost, it can be effective for a long-term strategy of branding is one part of it, but we only suggest to people to boost a post when, and I'm going to get a little high level here. I'm going to take it from like boost post to then like another strategy hack here. So bear with me.
No, I'll analyze it for our audience. Keep going. I'm following you.
Okay.
All right.
So if you were to, let's say you had a great ad, a great post that you created on your page, and you boosted it, it got, 45 comments, 5 shares, right? We got like 200 and something likes on it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, so Facebook loves that engagement because that's social proof, right?
Sure.
And that's kind of our digital currency. Social proof is a digital currency in the marketing world where people see that all these good things happen to that ad. Now, that's great, because your page are people that are going to be friends, family, people that past clients, right? They're going to engage with it quickly. But is that going to go to your targeted audience? No, that's not going to go to the target audience that's ready to act, right? Yeah. So what you do is then you go in, or what we do is we go in, and for some of your middle of the funnel content, the content that's going to be the one that's really building that brand awareness, that persuasion, and influence, that you're the expert, right? That you're the person of choice. Well, we'll go in and take the ad ID, right? The actual post ID for that, copy that post ID. So for everyone out there, there's an actual ID associated with every post, with every Facebook ad that you have. Copy that and then put it into the ad manager under either conversion or traffic, right, as a marketing objective. And then that creates an ad specifically, and it not just creates the ad, but it pulls that exact ad with all the comments and likes and shares and social proof on there. Now, then you run that ad to your targeted audience.
With the social proof.
With the social proof.
Let me just explain that. I did not know this. This is a good one. All right. So basically, if you do a page post boost, right, and it gets a lot of shares, and I'll give you a story. So I was doing an event in Miami, and one of the guys sits in the front row. He's just like, we were talking about Facebook ads. We started off talking about Facebook ads that day, and he shows me, he's like, dude, I love this Facebook ad stuff. He's like, look at this last post I did. This is the most engaged post I've ever seen in my life, literally, because there was nothing special about it. It was just a nice picture of a house, and it said just listed, pretty much really boilerplate. Right. Now, he had like 70 shares, like 100 comments. Like, it just went viral, this one post. I'm like, all right, that looks amazing. All right, so his mortgage broker out there was helping him, adapt to the Facebook game, which consisted of boosting posts. So the mortgage broker was like, he thinks the mortgage broker is like godsend, right? He's like, oh, great. So the mortgage broker is providing value. But then I asked him, how many leads did you get out of that? How many calls did you get? How many conversations have you had?
Right.
Big goose egg, 0. So you're exactly right, but that social proof is powerful for building the brand. So maybe like when you guys are boosting posts, tell me if you agree with this, Travis, but I like putting ads to my database because that's where 60% of business comes from traditionally for realtors. Repeat business, and so one of the audiences that we market on Facebook is our database. I use a page. I use the page engage. I use the engagement objective to run my ads just to keep my name in front of my database because my personal profile only reaches 17-20% of my audience. I want to hit all 100% of them.
Right.
So it's not an ad I'm looking for a lead as much as it's for top of mind brand awareness.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
So I'm just looking to stay on top of mind. Don't forget me. Don't use Billy or the cousin realtor who doesn't know what the hell he's doing. Don't forget I have my real estate license. Send me every referral you get. That's my objective. But to reach a new audience, to reach people who are ready to buy or sell right now, folks, is what we're talking about with zeroing in this targeting. Right. And setting the objective correctly from the beginning so that you can tell Facebook what you want it to do for you. It's sort of like, if we're going to look at it this way, I guess we do. It'd be like, all right, I want to go drive a stick shift car, right? But I don't know how to drive stick shift. The car's not going to drive me there to my destination. I need to learn how to drive stick shift first. That's what we're talking about is what goes first? Which way does the stick go? Does it go down, gear 1, gear 2, or how does that work? We're talking about the very beginning of your campaign, targeting that initial audience so that you're reaching people that are most likely to be a client and or customer of yours.
And so there's, and that's exactly, so there's what we call cold audiences and warm audiences, right? Yep. So the warm audience, there's some different types of warm audiences, but your page, people that like your page and that have engaged with it, that's typically a warm audience. They know who you are, right? They're familiar with what you do, your service, all that. A cold audience is that new audience in your Facebook ad targeting where you're saying, you know what, I want to target people that have a net worth of 250,000 that use premium credit cards, that live in these 5 zip codes, that love luxury travel, right? That live in a house that's over, 4,000 square feet, that are most likely to sell in, the next 6 to 8 months, right? Whatever that might be. That's a cold audience that's never heard of you. And if you're going to run an ad,
you're selling yourself short on that. Did you guys catch that? Go back, press rewind, and record and play again, and listen to what he said. The targeting, folks, is everything. He just named out like 6, 7 different targeting things. He does it off the top of his tongue because this is what he does daily. But it's like this, guys. If you were, all right, let's take direct mail farming. Okay. Direct mail farming. It's been done since the dinosaurs were around, right? Real estate agents have been freaking doing direct mail farming forever. An agent picks out a freaking neighborhood and they say, I'm going to own market share in this neighborhood. And then they blanket the neighborhood with a postcard once a month. We call it farming. What we're talking about, folks, is creating not only one, but several different audiences you can essentially farm, but with better targeting options than direct mail.
Right.
Right? And you're dripping over these people over time and attracting them to you.
Well, and not just that, but maybe we should I should back it up a little bit too about Facebook data. So Facebook, for all of those that may not know, Facebook listens to your conversations, right? From your messenger, it reads your emails, it watches basically your browsing habits, what you're commenting on, your geolocation, where your phone is going. So there's all this data, because that's what Facebook is a data and advertising company, right? And we are the products. We are the products that are being sold to advertisers like me. With the data that they have, then they have this robust targeting. And it's becoming so advanced. I mean, the algorithm that they have to be able to really pinpoint. And recently they came out, there's a few new targeting things like first-time home buyers. This person is likely to become a first-time home buyer. You should target them. So you check on first-time home buyer, right? First-time home buyer grant, right? People interested in that. People that are looking at Zillow, Realtor.com, Redfin, that are doing all these things based on their behavioral actions, things that they've said in a conversation, things that they've typed out, that they've looked at, that they're doing. So the Facebook algorithm is called BEAR, BEAR, bidding, effective action, and relevancy. And when you look at the Facebook algorithm, your bidding is your bidding strategy, how much you're going to actually pay to win this auction to be, for this ad to be in that space for that actual targeted audience. Effective action is focusing on the actual targeting and the effective action that those people in the audience are going to take. Yep. So, if someone's planning a trip to Seattle, and all of a sudden then they start getting these ads for a trip to Seattle, right? Then that's part of the effective action equation. And then, same thing with real estate. You're planning on buying a home soon, and then you start seeing these ads for, 43 homes that you can buy with only $7,000 down, download the list. And then relevancy. How relevant is the actual ad to the targeted audience? So once you tap into that, then so using traffic, like traffic or anything that is considered OCPM, optimized cost per 1,000 mile, which is really tapping into the Facebook algorithm for that ad targeting. That is, instead of reach or brand awareness, which is blanket marketing, that's really focusing on the actual Facebook data and really digging deep and saying, we're going to find the best prospects that you're targeting, and we're gathering all this data, sifting through it to find who are the ones that this ad is actually really going to resonate with, that their effective action is clicking on the ad and then moving forward in those next steps. And just recently, Facebook came out with the new Pixel update, which so if you don't have a Facebook Pixel on your website, please do it for the better good of the marketing community.
Mankind.
make
Yes.
yourself. But just kind of a little snapshot of what that is. It's a pixel is a snippet of code that Facebook gives you with your ad account. You can put in the back end of your website, give it to your web dev, or if you have WordPress, there's plugins that you can use to implement that. But the pixel got updated in May, and what the update was is that they have now put in Open Graph and schema.org inside of that pixel. So what it does is it pulls them, and it's instant. It's already instant. It's already there. You don't have to update it. It's been updated for you, but it pulls all that data, the metadata inside of your website. And really, then what it does is it scans through and gets a better picture of how are people interacting with your landing page, with your website, and what are they doing? Are they converting? Are they clicking on this button? What is the conversion rate? What's the interaction like? They serve that information then back to Facebook. And then Facebook serves it back into the pixel, which serves it back into the algorithm.
So more targeting.
Well, more targeting, but also your data that you're giving Facebook is also being fed back into the algorithm to get smarter, to then help that person in Portland, Oregon, or Denver with their marketing, and refines it.
Yep. Here's what it comes down to, guys. You can zero in on your target audience very easily, but you need to know the targeting. You need to know the targeting, how to target on the back end using Facebook's Power Editor. So to start with a good ad, first start by the targeting. I guess that's our main point here. Now, the actual ad itself, right? I know. Let's get into really briefly because we're past a little bit past the half-hour mark. Now, the actual ad itself and setting up the retargeting campaign. I want you to explain to us. This is all about retargeting. It's right. What can an agent do if they are not planning on retargeting?
If they're not planning on retargeting,
let's just say they want to just run one ads and they're not planning on doing the follow-up. Can you be successful in Facebook ads long-term doing that?
Go
ahead, man. Say it.
Sure. Yeah, my honest opinion is no. I don't think that you can.
I agree with you.
Just from it's like think about e-commerce, right? E-commerce perspective. E-commerce, like the diamond ring or the engagement ring company, or buying anything online, it has 86% of people that go into the checkout page bounce, right? They abandon the cart. 86 people. That's a standard. That's industry standard. They have retargeting built on that statistic to know if you leave and you abandon that cart, that they're going to have a dynamic ad, right, that follows you around saying like, hey, you didn't check out yet, make sure that you finish your purchase. Well, if those companies that are spending, literally tens of millions of dollars a month in Facebook marketing, if they didn't have ad retargeting, I mean, the whole
butts kicked.
Yeah, they go bankrupt, right? The whole space of digital marketing, 80% or 82% of brands and marketers use retargeting for brand awareness and establishing authority and getting people to come back and take some sort of conversion rate objective. So in terms of not using it, you have to look outside and look at other industries and go, well, statistically, 50% of most leads are qualified, but they're just not ready to take action right there in that moment. And I think a lot of times we get in real estate, there's that's going to be the silver bullet, right? Whatever it might be, or that's that shiny object that's going to bring in these sales, in the next 30 days. And then people get pissed about it, and then they don't continue with it, or they just move on. Well, with real estate, it's a longer decision cycle, right? It's a longer process. Baby boomers, with that psychographic, typically their decision cycle is 8 to 12 months. If they make a move, millennials, everything else that
The average on the Zillow, folks, think about the Zillow inquiries. Like, I'm in the process of moving, so I could tell you firsthand. I knew I was going to move about 8 months ago. I'm on fucking Zillow every second of the day, looking at properties. I'm an agent. Like, it's just natural by habits. Here's another analogy, folks. Because people are already out there, like, and I always use this. You don't get married before you start dating. Right? Like, when I met my wife, I didn't just be like, oh, yo, let's get married. And just think about it. Think about back in your single days when you're going out there, you're picking up chicks. You're like, all right, great. You have to make that girl laugh a couple times. You can't just be like, oh, let's go on a date. Can you be my girlfriend? She's going to say yes. And getting into a new relationship doesn't happen instantly. There's usually a story behind that, right? Oh, I saw him across the way that one time, and I just knew I had to see him again. That's your ad one. Now, the retargeting concept comes in when you see him at the grocery store, then you see him again over here, then all of a sudden you're like, is this guy supposed to be in my life if you're a woman, or vice versa if you're a dude? The point is that this is Dan Kennedy 101 stuff. You got to tell someone what you do 7 times before they remember what the hell it is that you do. And you have to build that trust. So a lot of these ads, and I'm sure, I don't know what your content, but you've mentioned the word authority, vulnerability, authenticity. All of these concepts are what attract these leads to have the cojones to want to pick up the phone and call you or do business with you. And then secondly, it's just no different. It's like for the women that are listening, when you guys click on that Nordstrom shoe and you're on their website shopping, your husband's telling you not to shop, but all of a sudden that shoe's all over your freaking news feed and everywhere else you go, and you end up freaking buying it, not listening to what husband's advice or anything. You're going to buy that shoe regardless. It's because you're being retargeted. And that's what we're talking about doing with real estate. It's the same in every industry. The only thing that ever changes is the message attached to it, the image attached to it.
Right. Exactly. And with retargeting, that's exactly it is. You're building. What is the perception that you want consumers to take away? And you have to think about retargeting. Well, so we call them retargeting stacks when you're building those those longer funnels of like 10, 15 ads. With that message, you have to think about it as a chapter book, right? This is your novel, and each chapter. One is the introductory chapter, right? This is me. This is who I am. This is my product service. I've been at it this long. Chapter 2, that's add to, right? That's more of setting the stage, right? Starting to build the story of people that have already interacted or had success with you. That social proof that is so primitive, and that mental trigger to get people to say, if someone likes them already, if you've had success with them, then it earns trust, right? It builds credibility. Yep. And that next, wave of ads, depending on if it's a buyer or a seller or whatever it might be, that you're trying to do, you really have to think about and map it out. What is that perception that you want them to take away from your brand? And there's no other platform where you can tell a story in a series of ads over the course of, 30 days, 90 days, that position you in their mind, right? When we talked about that indoctrination process, right? That you're pre-framing them. So by the time that you actually do meet with them, they should know who you are, what you do, what you have to offer, right? And all
feel like they know you.
They feel like, exactly, they feel like you know you. And then they're a warm prospect because you've already sold to them. Your listing and this is what I used to do, is I used to put my listing presentation online, and I would chop it up into digestible little pieces, and I would start with a big video and then get to the bottom of it. And people, when they met me, they'd be like, yeah, I totally get it. And
put your spiel away. Tell me where the line is dotted, and I'll sign it.
Right. Yeah. Just when is your video crew gonna get here? Let's do this. So
powerful stuff.
Stuff when done right.
So, all right, a couple more questions, and we'll wrap this up. And I apologize if you're all right on time. We got a couple more questions I got to get out.
Good,
because I know they're thinking about this. Now, let's do this one first. So the next one is ad spend. I don't want to spend money. I don't want to make money. Well, you can't. Oh no, I want to make money, but I don't want to spend money. Folks, you will never run a business without investing in it. That's just a plain out math. And this is a long-term thing, right, Travis? We're not talking about, this is no instant gratification, all right? And I think that's so many agents want just instant gratification. They want to pay for something and expect immediate results. But when you're running a business or you're setting up a Facebook ads campaign, this is just the way business has become. We have to do more to prove our value, right?
Right.
Like, look at all of the competition surrounding us right now. The recent news was Zillow. You got Redfin offers. You got flat fee brokerages. We have brokerages cutting out listing commissions and just for the buy side, right? Everyone's undercutting each other in price. But it doesn't matter. It's never about price. It's about value, right? As long as you justify your value. So this question is twofold. First, if an agent is going to do this, I want you to give us your opinion on what are they looking at? Because this is what, I'm sure you get this question. All right, how much am I going to have to spend in the next 6 months? That's the first question. And first, I want to hear your answer, and I have a point to make after that. Go ahead.
Okay, so ad spend on a campaign. If you're doing it yourself, and first thing I would say is make sure that you're educated on how to do it before you start throwing money at it. And once you are educated on it and you have that confidence, then you can start moving forward with it and really having a solid understanding of what to do and how to do it, so you don't feel like, oh man, I've just burned through $100 and I have absolutely no results. Well, it can be a black box of anxiety, right? If you don't know exactly, well, the Facebook algorithm takes 3 days to really kind of do its secret sauce, and then we need about 8,000 impressions on the ad before we can scale it. So I would say, depending on what your market is and how much money you really allot towards this, we're seeing agents spend anywhere from we have a client in Canada who just spent $298, I believe it was, in 16 days, and she has 112 leads from the campaign. I mean, she did really from that. Now she's in a different market, right, than Malibu or New York or Chicago. So you have to understand your market and how people are responding to that. The only way to do that is really to test and to kind of test the waters a little bit to see.
And that's the beauty. You could start small. You could start as little as $5 a day, $10 a day, then figure out what works. And then when you see it start working, you scale it on up. But just, it's just like anything else in any business, whether you're using direct mail, Facebook, whether you're doing video or not, it's always got to be attached to an ROI, right?
Right.
There's never an expense when you have an ROI attached to it. And that's what my best advice to our agents here is: treat your business like a business, work on it instead of being ran by it.
Well, the other part too, I would say, before you really spend any money let's say you're getting leads, is making sure you have a solid follow-up plan, right? How are you?
What? We didn't even. So we had one of your boys, Tristan, on last week's podcast, and what we talked about was conversion, right? And you're exactly right. Like, it's not hard. I mean, don't get me wrong. It's not like this stuff is so easy. After you learn this stuff, it's not hard to make your phone ring. Okay.
Right. And
you can make your phone ring right now. Just go get a Zillow zip code. The leads are going to come in. Go get ZBuyer. You can pay for leads. Like, it's never the leads that are, I like saying, it's not the leads that are weak. It's you're weak. No, it's on the follow-up. It really is. If you don't even have your follow-up game intact, don't spend any time on Facebook ads, because it's not going to work anyways. And I'm sure you probably, clients you take on, you might generate someone 50 leads. And if they don't convert one of them, I mean, I'm sure it's frustrating for you, because you're just like, dude, what else you want me to do? Right?
Right. Yeah. I mean,
you can't convert for them at the same time.
It's, there's strategies that we have, but when I think when people are also just starting out, they're kind of overwhelmed by it.
Sure.
Also, don't think that you have to have 6-8 weeks of every type of email and text planned out. If you do, that's awesome, right? Go for it. But don't feel like that you have to have that too. Make sure that you just have a few kind of automation tools set up, but that you're available to really kind of, dedicated time to actually reach out and turn those leads into it. I mean, I received a lead 2 days ago, And I was like, it's getting towards the end of the evening. I just want to hang out with my daughter, with my wife. And
the one you blow off ends up being like a $30 million buyer.
It's a potentially a $10,000 client, right?
Yeah.
So I called, and I was really glad I took that time to actually call, because if I had it, I would have blown it off. It would have wasted. It would have. You have to think about the relationship too on the other side, right? Is that these people actually, you can bring value to their life, and you have a service, you have a life, they have a life, and if someone wants your product, wants your service of helping them, everyone does it differently. If you're denying them of that, right, you're doing them a disservice as well. So you really have to make sure you're reaching out and actually making those phone calls and connecting.
Good point. So let's end with this question. Folks, we might even have you on a follow-up interview. I have so many more questions. If you're game for it, I'd love just to get into retargeting only, since we sort of laid out the point. But here's what I'm getting out of today. Retargeting is absolutely necessary. Don't waste your money unless you plan on doing it. We're just being honest, folks. 2 or 3 is this is playing the long game.
Right.
Okay, this isn't instant gratification. You're going to have to do some grunt work. All right. But overall, I'm seeing a paradigm shift in the industry. Agents are looking around. They're constantly like, I saw one post the other day in one of the groups, and there's like, well, basically the post came out and said, I think it was today actually, it says, I'm a buyer's agent. All right. I don't take on many listings. I do about 20, 30 buyers a year. Still pretty good at business. But I'm taking on a listing, but I really don't know what else to do for this listing other than put it on the MLS and put a sign in the yard. Like, this is a real estate agent saying that. So The truth is that sellers today, I believe, I don't know what your opinion is on this, I don't think sellers look to hire realtors anymore. I think they look to hire marketers. So what is the importance of, otherwise what the hell's the point? Because you're ethical, you're going to sell my house faster because you're a licensed agent. The truth is the piece of paper doesn't mean jack. It doesn't help you sell their house better. What does are skills like this. So what is the importance of obtaining skills in Facebook ads today for the real estate industry as a whole and the individual agent?
It's funny that you say it, because our real estate tagline under our logo used to say, a marketing firm that happens to sell real estate.
I love that. Yeah. That's what we say. I'm a realtor who happens to, I'm a marketer who happens to have a real estate license or something like that. It's funny.
Right, because that's why they're hiring you. Really what selling a house boils down to is marketing.
That's right.
And I mean, there's the human connection element of it, but really having that marketing. So I'm sorry,
So what's the importance of obtaining skills in Facebook? And this is just marketing skills in general. Folks, Facebook's not going anywhere. It's going to be here to stay. I think the most important marketing skill you can have is in Facebook. But then I would say it'd be like in terms like video and social and the rest of the social world, because that's just where it's at.
Right.
An agent today, it says, I don't want to learn this stuff. Is that detrimental? Is it?
If you don't want to learn it and you can hire someone else to do it for you, hey, that's if you have that type of budget allocated for that, that's great.
Yep.
But in terms of really having a skill set where you can turn on the lead faucet and truly understand, like at any moment you can generate leads on demand, right? Having that ability to do that is one of the most gratifying feelings of being able to really just say, you know what, I need some business. I'm going to run this campaign, generate some leads, and really understanding the math of it too. I think that's what a lot of people kind of get down on it, or they may not figure that out, is going, well, let's do the actual math, right? If you're going to get X amount of leads, what is the typical conversion rate that you perform at? And then how many of those, do you need to really hit your goal, your number, right? If you're working backwards of, well, I want to be doing 250,000 GCI, right? Or I want to be 80,000 GCI, whatever it might be, right? Then working backwards towards that and really kind of mapping it out. To have that skill set is so valuable, because let's say you learn it from Facebook, right? And we, real estate agents, I was in it for 15 years. there's people that I managed that were under me that were there for, a long time, longer than me, or that they were there for maybe just 3 years. And they said, you know what, Travis, thanks, but this is not my gig. I'm not going to do this. I give it my best shot. I'm going to go on my way. Well, if those people learned Facebook marketing, not to say that they'd stay in real estate longer, but it might help and benefit them in the long run of going, well, if I'm not going to do this, maybe I can actually, sell, set up a shop on Shopify, right? And so, I mean, that's kind of the beauty with Facebook advertising, is that it blends into so many things that if the world, if my business burnt down tomorrow,
you can start all over the next day.
Yeah, I'd run an ad for something else and just start over in that way. But I think the other valuable thing to know though is that you're working on a platform that has so much data available that there's no reason that you shouldn't tap into that. Really, I mean, there's a whole ocean of oil under our feet. And it's the Facebook marketing platform and the data that they have. So that, and just from the sake of really being able to have the confidence to say, yeah, I can take on this client because I know that I can find a buyer for it. Yeah. And I know that, the Facebook marketing is available to me, and it's so affordable, really. If you think of billboard advertising, TV, right? I was in a room full of people the other day, and they're talking about commercials and whatnot and ad spin, and kind of looked around, and everyone said, how many of us actually watch TV and no one raised their hand, right? I mean, we have Netflix and Hulu and those things, but like actual TV, right? Not a lot of people watch it anymore. We're living in a fragmented device kind of era where you have your phone over here. I've got my laptop, then an iPad. Your attention is in these different places, so you really need to focus on where people are and where the money is. Yep. That was my long, really winded answer for that.
I think you're right, Travis. We appreciate your time on today's podcast. You also, folks, if you guys want a done-for-you type service for Facebook ads, Travis knows what he's doing. I wouldn't have him on the show if he didn't. But everything he's saying is the absolute truth. It's the same way on how I could create a brand called Real Estate Marketing Dude out of the video you're seeing me in my freaking room right now, and I could speak to the world because of Facebook ads, right? So it's like you as an agent can do the exact same thing. It was 4 years ago I ran my first Facebook ad or something like that, but it takes time to learn. You can do it, but if you can't and you don't have the time, great. There's companies like Travis, but I haven't met one that does that specializes in real estate, and that's the biggest difference, I believe. I don't think you could, if you're not in the industry, you need to live this industry to be able to promote it. It's not like another type of product because it's not a physical product. There's a lot of stuff changing, and that's what I like about you, and that's why I like having you on the show. So, Travis, please go ahead, plug your site. Tell our listeners again who you are, how they could reach you, and we'll wrap this up. I
appreciate it. Thank you, Mike. First, it was a pleasure being here.
Cool.
It's nice to talk to other like-minded individuals. So
yeah, thank you. Thanks for having us, or thanks for doing this.
Of course. My name is Travis Thom. You can go to my personal website, travisthom.com. Occasionally, every once in a while, I'll post something. Our other website is elevatedrem.com. And so either one, you can find me there. Hit me up on Facebook, Messenger, or my email, travis@leads2, that's the number 2, listing.com. That's our parent company. That owns the other company. So
thank you very much. We'll get this wrapped up. And listeners, thank you very much for tuning in to another episode of our podcast. Tune in next week. We got more good stuff happening, and you guys know where to find me. It's very, very, very simple. realestatemarketingdude.com. We're all about attracting business, not chasing it. Quit chasing leads. Start creating relationships. That's what we're about. That's how you build a brand. That's how you last, and that's how you effectively control your own destiny. Thank you very much, folks, and we'll see you next week. Bye-bye.